Good morning.
Morning, good morning.
Laura's in her office meeting. She's going to be silent, but she's here. Hey, John.
Hey, Nick. Wanda, how's everybody doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I know what I want to start with when you're ready.
I'm ready, let's go.
All right. So I thought the most monumental thing that I ever heard was that Yale study. I'm going to repeat it because it is so ginormous in my head.
Yes.
But the 100 college students dressed in business professional attire, the
Mhm.
100 college students that was in business casual attire, and the 100 in sweats negotiating the warehouse. The ones in business professional, 2.4 million, business casual, 1.6 million, sweats, 600 grand. I think it was 680,000. The best part of that whole study, the negotiations were done on the phone. The other side had no idea what they were wearing. So if that doesn't say self-confidence, how you dress and how you show up in your life isn't going to translate from your subconscious to your clients, I don't know what does.
Mhm.
Like, that's just for me a ginormous, monumental. We have to find a way to get up, to show up, and be dressed as best as we possibly can, so that we carry that kind of value all the way through.
Yes. Yes, I heard the saying, see if I can remember it. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you work good. And if you work good, they pay good. Have you ever heard that?
I like it. I don't know if it's, we're gonna go with it. That's perfect because I
Yeah.
want to be paid good.
So
Pay
if
me
you like,
good.
if you feel good or you dress good, you feel good, and then
Right.
eventually you get paid good. So that's like the easiest way that I can remember it in my mind.
So Alondra, what was your favorite takeaway?
I had so many. But I actually, let me go ahead, and I think the most impactful day for me was the first day. Right? It was that first day, all about the mindset. So I actually made a little PowerPoint. So let me see if I can share it. Can you see my screen?
I can.
So one of the first things that like really stuck with me was that quote from the first day, and you can see it on my screen. Remember, what you focus on expands. So
Mhm.
like I literally, while we were in Ninja, I made a graphic, and it's on my wallpaper on my phone. So anytime I look at my phone, which we all look at our phones like what, 10 times a day.
I believe it was every 8.6 seconds right now is what they said.
Yeah. So I have that so that it reminds me to focus on the positive, and to, like if I am focusing on the negative in that moment, then of course, all I'm going to see is everything through that negative filter, if you will.
Did you make these on Canva?
I made them in Illustrator, but you could make them on Canva. So
Are these shareable to everybody in our group?
yeah, so I can share them. Can I share pictures in chat?
You can share files, right?
Yeah, I'll share these in our chat. So if anybody wants to use these as your screensaver on your phone,
Or they can email, right?
or you guys can email me too. Let me see.
And your third one, that was one of my favorite. Are you a player or are you a victim? How are you showing up? There is no meaning until we give it meaning, right? There is no meaning in anything that somebody tries to do to us, which is also, I think they illustrated that quote the most for text messaging.
Yeah.
Like how much gets lost in a text message because they can add their influence to any word or accentuate any word they want. But are we showing up as a player? Or are we showing up as a victim?
Yep.
How do we show up each day?
Exactly. And it's in every situation, like how you are feeling it. I'm sharing these in the chat. So if you guys are able to download them or see them, let me know. But yeah, and it's just different. I think you can apply these to different situations, and not just like in the workforce, but in your personal life too. And like, are you in, I think one of the things that she said, it's like you have a choice on how you react. Like, are you going to be a player, or are you going to be a victim?
Absolutely. Now I can't see who all's here. I know, Bob, are you able to talk? Isam's here as well.
I am able to speak.
Okay, Bob. So I know I did this on Tuesday, but since not everybody here gets to come to our illustrious sales meeting, why don't you share one of your best of what you got from it? Because I know that your whole team went through it together.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll go with the, what you focus on, it expands, and that has so very little to do and everything to do with our business of real estate. I mean, it's something that through my personal life over the last 18 months, it's just been a transformation that I've had to have in everything, just from my personal physical choices to my, how I choose to love others and to apply this to business and real estate. So don't mean to jump right on what Alondra went with, but it was so impactful, and it's going to continue to impact positively areas of my life. And once that happens in my personal life, it'll just flow over into my marriage. It'll flow over into my interrelationship, my relationships with my kids, my neighbors, and my business ultimately. So that's the bigger picture. Is what I focus on affects everything. So
Yeah, definitely.
I think a part of, and I know I shouldn't start with I think, what I see from a lot of what we get from that is how much of our day we actually lose by not being focused on what we should be focused on how we should be focused on what we look at. Like, are we reactionary or are we proactive when we wake up, right? I'm guilty of it, and I still haven't broken. I know she told us to, but I look at my email, right? And I justify it to myself to say the agents submit commission demands, so I need to sign a commission demands. But why am I signing a commission demand at 6 o'clock in the morning? I know escrow's not closing it. So I could do that at 8, but somehow I was justifying to myself that it was for somebody else. So let me look at my email first thing, because my phone is my alarm clock.
I'm not joking. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but this morning, first thing I did was check my email, and like I heard Terry's voice in my head, like, why are you checking your email first thing?
Right. And I checked email, I checked text messages, and you know what and this is where I really started to beat myself up. I went to Instagram. I wanted to see the reels, right? Because I know that's our next TipZ-Thursday, and I'm trying to learn everything. So again, I'm justifying a poor behavior as opposed to doing it the way I should, is calendaring, focusing on reels at a specific time so that I do it the right way. And I think that's one of the best parts of Ninja, is it points out, and now I'm cognizant that I'm doing it. So now I just have to take the small corrective actions to make sure that it doesn't become, as they say in the Slight Edge, their reading list, the downward spiral of spending all day on Instagram or email or whatnot,
Definitely.
I see Isom is here. Isom, can you talk?
Yes.
All right. How about you? Have you implemented? So I know this isn't the first time I believe you've taken Ninja. If I remember, this is a second or third time for you.
Right. That's correct.
What have you implemented or changed? Not what was your best takeaway. Have you actually added something since Friday?
Some of the things I've already been doing, like not checking your email first thing in the morning. First thing I do is do my my affirmations. I do my positive reading. If it's on the day that I exercise, I go exercise. And I do all of that before I do my emails. So I try to be in the office by 9 o'clock. And by that time, I've done all of the Ninja 9 stuff. Then I check my email. And then
Now, is that a change, or were you doing that before?
I was doing some of it before, but this put me back on track.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is still just as important, right? Getting us from where we were to where we know we should be, getting us back on the path.
And one part that stuck out for me is the giving part. You give and you receive. I've always been taught that from an early age, without having taken a course like that. Always give and help people, and they come back to you. If you do it, with a good heart and not grudgingly or anything. So I've been very successful in giving to people and helping people. And whether I get anything back or not, it makes me feel good. And knowing that I helped someone who needed help.
Yeah, it's the giving. I was given this quote a long time ago, and it created I guess you want to say a family argument. This is probably like a decade and a half ago, that you should never say you should be grateful. The words "you should be grateful" should never come out of your mouth,
Right.
because if you were giving somebody in the terms of just giving, it's not up to me to tell them to be grateful for it. I wasn't giving without accord. I was giving for them to acknowledge.
Right.
So us using the words "you should be grateful" is like, and how many times have we said, like I say it to my kids, I catch myself like, hey, you should be grateful for what you have. I'm like, oh no. How do I not do that? But that's the whole thing is, I hope to at least teach them that giving part that Isam's talking about, ingrained the right way, is like give without expectation.
Yeah, and it's a mindset, Nick.
Yep.
It's really a mindset.
100%. Everything is though, right?
Yeah.
Laura brought up the Miracle Morning was an excellent read. I do agree with that. If you haven't gotten the Miracle Morning, there's a Miracle Morning book. You can get the one for real estate agents. I believe it's Michael Mayer, Jay Kinder, and Michael Reese helped write it with Hal Elrod. Hal Elrod was my first Cutco salesperson, by the way, before he became the Miracle Morning guy. Baba, like your cat, looking cute. Now it's gone. I didn't want that. I'm sorry I brought you up.
You're
Wanted to be in the
embarrassed.
background.
Nick, do we have that book in our PMC library?
I believe we do. And if not, I have it in my personal library that I could loan out as well. I
Yeah.
think I have a few copies. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give one away somehow. I'm going to find a way to give it away.
I think we should add a couple of those Ninja reading books from the Ninja reading list and add them to our PMZ library.
I can bring them from, I will do it after, but I do have the Slight Edge. I know she mentioned that one. I do have Miracle Morning. I have The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg, she mentioned that one. The Carmine Gallo books about Apple, I have those. Actually, I believe the West Experience has borrowed one of them.
Yeah.
I have a few, so I can always add those as well.
Yeah, we'll start adding those books to the library. And then if anybody, one of the cool things that I've learned the last year or so is the Stanislaus Public Library. When you get your card, you can also borrow books electronically. So I love to read before bed on my phone. So if it's just easier for me. So you can borrow those for free. And I believe in audiobooks too. And I was searching through some of them. I know the Go Giver is on Audible or through audiobook there. So if you guys don't have already a library card, I would suggest getting one. And then there's 2 different apps that you can borrow books from.
Can we have a sidebar, no charge? How do you read on your phone and not have a headache?
I had the black screen.
That's still, ouch.
No, I'm.
I have a Kindle. I can read on that. I
Yeah.
can read on the Remarkable, but I can't do the iPad or the iPhone. I tried mightily and it just not working.
Yeah, so
But
I use the
more power
black.
to you.
I use a black screen. I think I should be using the no blue light filter so that I don't. But it works for me.
I read on my Kindle, on my iPad, and it works. I can't do it on the phone, but I
Yeah.
can do it on my iPad. Also, I'm part of another program, and one of the top books that they recommended that you read is Ninja Selling by Kindle.
Mhm.
Which anybody who attended Ninja got a copy, and I think we have quite a few.
I think we have 4 or 5 in the library, and we're going to be able to add some more too.
Yeah. I can donate mine too because I have an extra one.
Let's see, I'm trying to go through who's here, see if anybody else has some stuff they'd like to offer. I think that part of, I don't know what I'm starting with, I think each time. Ninja, for me, this was the first time I've ever taken, and I've been in real estate 16 years. I've taken a lot of courses. Some of the most aggressive courses like Mike Ferry, Terry had mentioned it. I did do Sweat Hogs, Floyd Wickman Sweat Hogs when I first got in. And one of the most, I think, eye-opening parts of it is how successful some ninja agents are, and they don't feel it's a bait and switch. I've been in these courses where you're forced to get on the phone and call 100 people in a day, and you kind of like say, oh, I'm in a contest, call me back. The whole giver's gain part that Ison was talking about, that Ninja's for, is if you write 2 cards a day, you call people and just genuinely care about them, and that's it, without expectation that the giver's gain, the go giver part, comes back to you. And you don't have to be the aggressive pounding on the door. You ready to list your house in 7 to 10 days? If not, who do you know that I should know that I can call in 7 to 10 days to list their house? And just, like, I don't want to be Chris Gardner from The Pursuit of Happiness and have a finger that's bent because I made so many phone calls, because I don't think that sounds enjoyable. And this was the first real estate course to create a big life that didn't focus on having some crazy dialing habit.
Yeah.
And that was powerful for me.
Yeah. And I think it, like doing those things also, makes it like a better quality of life. Like how you were saying, it makes you more connected to your client base and the people who you already know and love. And I love that. And it's like finding that sweet spot between work and personal life, that, and doing both.
Right.
Having boundaries, but understanding that, like the guy that became the de facto photographer for his son's soccer team, because that was a passion of his, finding a way to bring your passion to something and then just giving it. And then people always, they don't want, I'm going to quote Marvel Universe right now, so I apologize for anybody who's not as nerdy, but you don't want to have black in your ledger, red in your ledger, right? That was the whole thing between Hawkeye and, okay, I'll stop because I know it's probably going down the wrong way in real estate. We shouldn't talk about Marvel and Avengers.
Oh, I love
But you don't
Marvel.
want to have red in your ledger, right? I don't want to feel like I owe people. And if I feel like I owe somebody, I want to make sure that I don't. And it's not like I owe them as a sense they gave me $100 so I could eat. But it's, I don't want to owe. So if people give and give and give to me, I need to give back as much as I can to them, because it's like, hey, I feel bad over here just receiving.
Yeah. But also, as far
Thank
as
you, Margaret. Much appreciated.
she says how we love Marvel. Going off of what you just said, it's also the receiving part. And I know she covered that one of the first days, right? It's like we have to also be open to receiving. And I'm going to call myself out because I'm the worst at this. And I think Bob, I'm not sure if he just came back or not, but I was carrying a bunch of water case or coffee and water, and he asked if I needed help. I was like, oh no, I'm fine, I got this. But here I had like 2 other cases that I was bringing in, and he just stands there and looks at me. He's like, what are you doing? So he definitely called me out, and I really appreciate that, because that like really reset my mindset. Like, okay, I have to be open to receiving as well.
I do remember that, actually. I think Bob and I both were like, can you not do it yourself, Alondra, and allow people to help you?
So I definitely appreciate, Bob, you helping and you calling me out at the same time.
Well, thank you and you're welcome. And yeah.
Well, and who else is on that list though, right? I
Fine.
know Alondra's not alone. Like, let's do a show of hands here. I think you can raise your hand in the little reaction button, but put a hand up. Are you always open to receiving, whether it's actual gifts and or compliments? If you have struggles with it, raise your hand.
Oh, I definitely have struggles with it.
Yeah. Yes, he called me out on it last week. Was it last week? I don't even know.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that we have to work on, and just reset our mindset that yes, we can receive help and or gifts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, it's funny because I actually was really bad at this, and someone called me out about 8 years ago, and they explained it to me as when someone gives you a compliment, they're giving you a physical gift, but it's not a physical, it's a verbal gift. So by you downplaying it, you're actually insulting someone. It's almost like giving the gift back and saying, here, take it, don't want your gift, and leaving the room.
Like, I
So
don't
when
need a
someone
bread
explained
machine.
it that way, it made me say, okay, I have to say thank you. I have to value them for what they gave me. So you need to work on that.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's a good perspective, because the moment you say giving a gift back, I started thinking of old school. And they kept trying to pass the bread machine to each person. Like, no, I gave that to you for your wedding. They're like, nobody wants to get the gift back that they gave you. So I will be cognizant of it going forward and work on making sure that I receive compliments better.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know if anybody else was in the course this last week, but I mean, the four of us that have spoken, for those of you who have taken it previously, is there something that, because I think Yessie's taken it before. Is there something that you remember from your last installation that you would have loved to have gotten again, or that is still in your daily operations?
I think for me, Nick, one of the biggest things was like just the consistency. And I think that I loved what you said earlier, that this platform allows you to just be you, but do you more consistently. So like for me, the affirmations, they're in my car, they're on my mirror at home, they're on my laptop. So, and then my goals were too. So like, I mean, I'm proud to say that what I set as a goal with Ninja in 2019, I achieved in 2020. What I set up forward last year, I already achieved this year. So either A, I'm not being true to myself, my goal's not high enough, or B, because I see it every day, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, thanks. But because I see it every day, it's part of my dailies. Like, how am I going to achieve X amount of numbers? How am I going to achieve X amount of people I touch? So I think that's one of the biggest keys, just being myself authentically, consistently. And I love how she kind of pushes on that, because I'm not going to go door knock on 150 people every day or every couple of weeks.
Right.
It's not who I am. So my heels won't let me, even if I tried.
I'm going to quote another movie. You got to dare to dream a little bit bigger, darling, if you've ever seen Inception.
True.
Right?
True.
Well, but also I don't ever want to force somebody to create goals that make them uncomfortable either. I think it's great accomplishing goals. I'm of the school of thought that make goals, and then once you hit them, make bigger goals so that you always keep pushing forward.
Mhm.
So once you've achieved this year's goal, what's the goal for the fourth quarter alone, right? Or what's the goal for the next 6 months instead of 2022? We don't have to wait for the year to go to do our next goal.
Yeah. I think one of the first time I took it was back in 2019, I believe. And she was making us do like our goal for the year. And I followed the exercise because I really wanted to be in the same mindset of all the agents. And then she had us write it like 100 times throughout the whole week. And like the first 2 times I was doing it, I'm like, this is unrealistic for me. Like I'm not in sales, and I kept like trying to psych myself out of it. And then I was like, no, you know what? Like, I'm just going to focus on it. And I'm going to take what she says at value. And I was able to achieve it, not that year, but the following year. And it's like, I was thinking in my head, like, what am I going to do? Go knock on Mike's door and say, hey, it just says I should be making this. And so, I just kept putting those excuses in my head. And then I was like, no, I need to stop it. Like, if I focus on it, it'll expand and I will eventually get there.
One quote from the book 5 that I've heard a lot in life is, we often overestimate what we can accomplish in 1 year, but grossly underestimate what we can do in 5. So I'm a big proponent of making 5-year goals, because if you look back, like, and in the book, I'm going to butcher it, but like Ray Kroc was broke in 5 years, was a multimillionaire, and he started at like 63 or something. Like the book goes over people at every age from essentially 8 to 93 that accomplish monumental goals in 5 years from where they were and having nothing. So that we're 5 years away from anything, right? That's it. As long as we focus on the right thing and execute it with consistency, that's all we got to do.
Yes, definitely. Was there anything that you walked away from Ninja and that you do that helps you stay on the path every day or throughout the year? Anything that you started doing, this week just to kind of keep you in that same mindset?
Or were you asking me?
I'm asking anybody.
Well, I haven't fully got on the Ninja path. I'm reviewing my notes. I'm still reassessing, right? I feel that I don't want to have a smart shelf. I don't want to have any of that. So I want to keep looking at the materials. I'm going to carry them with me for at least a week at a minimum and look at them often so that I'm reminded of things like breaking the habit of looking at my cell phone right when I wake up.
Mhm.
Right? The cell phone is my alarm. The cell phone is everything. Like I have my baby monitor up on my cell phone because my baby monitor is there. So my phone is literally plugged in next to my face all night, which
Yeah.
has got to be great for my brain waves. But I'm going to do that because I'm going to check on the babies, but I'm also going to make sure that that phone, when I shut off the monitor, I don't go straight to that notification of 164 emails or whatever it may be at that moment,
Yeah.
or the 91 text messages and voicemails.
Yeah. And I think I selfishly wanted to do this topic today because it forced me to go through my notes and, create some action plans for me and just really talk about it so it stays top of mind.
Mhm.
One of my biggest takeaways from last year was the gratitudes. And I'm all about like journals and having some sort of system. So I did go on Amazon and I found this journal. It's called the 6-Minute Diary. Has anybody heard of it?
I have the 5-minute journal. It's
I
a
think
white cloth cover.
Yeah, I think it might be similar because I know there's a 5-minute and a 6-minute one.
Mhm.
I think it's like $20 on Amazon, and you write like your 3 gratitudes of the day, your daily affirmation on there. And then what I really like is at the end of the day, right before you go to bed, you write, one good thing that happened that day and one positive thing you did for somebody. So and I used to carry that around with me just so that I had that like just to remind me of to do the gratitudes, to do the affirmations. And also I would, look forward to like, okay, how can I share some joy to someone too?
I like it.
And I think I'm gonna try, I love to listen to podcasts. So I plan to start subscribing to the Ninja podcast.
I need to do that as well. Add that to the reminder list.
Hey, Nick, I'm not sure if they talked about it this time, but I know that last time one thing she really emphasized was to make sure you start not breaking promises to yourself and how we consistently put ourselves last because we can talk about, who needs us, like you're talking about people needing you to just the commission signs and all of this other stuff that we put people ahead of us. The babies need us, the husband needs us, our wives. But I remember her explaining like the pattern that we create when we keep breaking promises to ourselves. So then we try to make a new habit. Our like soul is like, dude, back off. Like you already broke your promise last week. You broke your promise last year. Like you're not going to do this. So you're already in an uphill battle. So I loved how she emphasized that, like start making promises to yourself that you keep consistently. And I know that's one thing I started 2 years ago and there were very simple things for me. It was like, get up and like stretch your legs. Super simple, but I did that for 30 days to create a pattern. And then I added, get up and do 5 minutes of reading. So you don't make them these huge things. It's just more allowing your soul to start agreeing with your mentality that you're going to keep the promises and start retraining yourself. And I loved what she said that last year, or 2 years ago. That's what stuck beyond anything else with me is don't break promises to me because I need to make sure I'm healthy, in order for me to give affirmations and give constant feedback and be positive for everybody else. Because if I'm depleted, then no one else is going to get anything out of it.
Well, she did bring it up, and I don't know if it was mentioned 2 years ago because I don't know if the book was out. Was the Atomic Habits book, where it talked about all the habits that we have. And it's by James Clear. And if you've read that book, which is another one we should have the library, Alondra, let's just make more lists. But habit stacking from that is something that you kind of just mentioned without actually mentioning, is that when you have like waking up and if you're doing well with stretching, if the next habit is right, because I think in the book he mentions, and I'm maybe butchering it again, that most people have a habit of having coffee in the morning when they get up. So if you always do a cup of coffee and that's 5 minutes of your day, you can add one simple thing with your coffee and now make it 10 or 15 minutes. And you're actually getting a new habit because the coffee habit is already there. So it's very easy to add to it and you're stacking your habits. And the more habits we can stack in the morning, the more we get to control ourselves, including not breaking promises to ourselves, like signing commission demands.
No, he literally says that, and just to try to start building on the little things, like you're going to exercise, make sure it's on the way to work and it's not like 5 miles away from work because your habit is now needs to be formed differently. So just keep stacking those. I love that book.
Right.
Awesome. Any other takeaways? Anything else that, anybody wants to share about Ninja and their experience? Going once, going twice.
Or any questions you have for those of us who attended, for those of you who didn't get a chance to as well.
Mhm. So while we wait for those to come in, if you just want to, unmute yourself or put it in the chat. One of the last things that I took away from the first time I attended was it matters who says it. And I believe she was referring to the sellers and like figuring out what the home should be listed for.
Mhm.
But I took that and applied it to my life. And, I have two step kids, and I started using that with them. So instead of saying no, like you can't do this, I would ask a question so that they would answer themselves, So it's not me telling them no, it's them thinking about it critically and then, coming into that realization themselves. And that has just
So
been
how are you getting them to personally say no to Fortnite?
so I haven't tried Fortnite. If video games is no problem, but also use like say they want to have like soda, right?
Mhm.
And so then like, hey, can I have soda? And so then I ask, well, how much water have you drank today? And they're
Mhm.
like, you're right, I haven't drank that much water today. I'm gonna go drink water instead. But I'm not saying no. I'm just, I'm rephrasing that question so that they can say, okay, I haven't drank water. I'm gonna drink that instead. And they're making that decision. And it's not just me saying, no, you can't do this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I swear that was like my biggest takeaway from the first time I did it. And I just started using that all the time with them. So now I have to kind of get back into the mindset of doing it.
I'm with you. Well, I guess that's all we got for today,
Oh,
right?
Tyson, did you want to add anything?
I'm sorry.
Did you want to add anything?
No, I had something, but I forgot. That happens to young people all the time, But I think that was a great class. One thing that we had started doing before COVID in the Stockton office was we have a meeting with all of the Ninja graduates every week. And that was totally helpful because it kept you on track. And we're going to start that up again
Mhm.
now after this session. So we'll be meeting every Thursday at 11 to go over stuff and just role play and do the things we need to do. And one thing I want to say, make sure you develop a nice buyer's package and a seller's package. And those seller packages are real important. I had a guy walk in on floor one day and wanted to sell his house. So I went in and talked to him and I told him, okay, I want to drop something off by your house today. And you don't have to be there. I just drop it off on your porch. And he came back the next day and he said, I'd never seen such a professional presentation in all my life. He said, that was excellent. I'm sold. And so that was an eye opener for me.
Oh, I love
And
that.
yeah, it was very well put together. And so he felt it very professional. He said, no one has done that before. And he had sold several houses.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I walked away from thinking, okay, PMZ needs to have in a good listing presentation that anybody can use. So that is my goal to start working on that and creating that so that, we'll provide a good listing packet that you can take and use and, still in the beginning stages of that, but I'm excited to be able to do that and then work on a buyer's packet as well.
Good.
Well, all right. And then 2 weeks from today, we are going to be doing social media and Instagram reels.
Yes. So me and Nick are going to get together. We're going to make a reel and then walk you through how to make them. Well, you'll be a real expert by the time we're done with this.
Let's hope.
Fingers crossed. No, definitely. So thanks for joining us. It was really great. I encourage you guys to come back next time. We'll go into reels and social media, Instagram specifically, and be prepared to come in, on camera and unmuted so that it can be more of a discussion and that we're not just talking to you, but
Yeah.
talking with you.
Yeah. Much appreciated for the support today, guys.
Thanks for
Okay.
joining. We'll see you guys next Tipsy Thursday.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.